Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm your girl Kemi, and this is Sincerely KSO. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kemi, and this channel is called Sincerely KSO. KSO are my initials. If it is your first time here, I'd like to welcome you. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, my darlings. This is a requested reaction, and it was requested by Iman. She wanted me to watch Sense and Sensibility. She said she loved my reactions and just wanted me to get a glimpse of something else that was beautiful. She enjoyed my Pride and Prejudice reaction and thought Sense and Sensibility would be right up my alley. I'll be doing it today. I hope that we all enjoy. If it is your first time, like I said, please subscribe to this channel, help with the numbers. It's so important that you subscribe to get details on what I'm doing next, what's upcoming. Participate in the community as well so you can get updates on my future reactions and whatever I've put out on Patreon. All the tiers on Patreon get a film reaction request. The first tier gets animation, second tier gets animation and TV series, third tier gets animation, TV series and movies. The final tier gets you a film reaction request. So whatever tier you decide to join, you are getting some content as well. All right, so I thought I'd just let that tell you that before we get into the film. It's February, the month of Valentine, and it's the love month. I'm so thrilled to be watching movies that are in line with this because Ma said this is really good. And my patrons have been requesting beautiful romantic movies for a while now, so I'm so excited for everyone that I just finished watching. I was looking at the cover of Sense and Sensibility and I saw Hugh Grant and I just did a reaction to him. Notting Hill, oh my God, Notting, double T, Hill. And he was so charming. He was so charming. I also like him in Bridget Jones' Diary. So I've got a couple of reactions with him in it and I've enjoyed them. I've enjoyed every single one where he's appeared. So I think I'm going to enjoy this too. All right. Emma Thompson.
Find out soon enough from my will that the estate of Norland was left to me in such a way as prevents me from dividing it between my two families.
Calm yourself, Father. This cannot be good for you.
Norland and I am happy for you and Fanny. I left only £500 a year, barely enough to live on, nothing for the girls' dowries.
Of course.
You must promise to do this.
First, I mean to give them £3,000. The interest will provide them with a little extra income.
What?
One had rather, on such occasions, do too much than too little. £1,500 then. What do you say to 1,500?
What brother on earth would do half so much for his real sisters, let alone half-blood?
Well, they can hardly expect more.
There's no knowing what they expect. The question is, what can you afford?
What do you mean, what can you afford?
Yeah, to their mother while she lives. Would that be more advisable?
What?
It is better than parting with the 1,500 all at once.
But if she should live longer than 15 years, she'd be completely taken in.
£20 now and then will amply discharge my promise. You're quite right.
Indeed.
They will have 500 a year amongst them as it is.
And what on earth could 4 women want for more than that?
See, this is what women were subjected to in those days. They couldn't inherit, and that was also, I remember reading somewhere that fathers had to literally give their children cash just in case, because you never know, and they'll be scared.
Mama has been weeping since breakfast.
Reduced to the condition of visitor in my own home. It is not to be borne, Eleanor. Vultures.
Until then, we must try to bear their coming.
Because houses go from father to son, dearest, not from father to daughter.
As you know, we are looking for a new home, and when we leave, we shall be able to retain only Thomas and Betsy. But we are certain that you will find the new Mrs. Dashwood a fair and generous mistress. How is Mrs. Ferrers?
My mother is always in excellent health, thank you. My brother Robert is in town with her this season and quite the most popular bachelor in London. He has his own barouche. Edward is the elder, and Mamma quite depends upon him. He's travelling up from Plymouth shortly and will break his journey here.
Fanny wishes to know where the key to the silver cabinet is kept.
Betsy has it, I think. What does Fanny want with the silver?
One can only presume she wants to count it. I've said yes and no.
This is the actress in Titanic. Yes. What's her name again? I was like, I know her face. Yeah.
When may we expect the pleasure of your brother's company?
Edward is due tomorrow. Oh, and my dear Mrs. Dashwood, in view of the fact that he will not be with us for long, I wonder if Miss Margaret will be prepared to give up her room for him.
What?
The view is quite incomparable from her windows, and I should so much like Edward to see Norland at its best.
Wow.
Miss Dashwood, Miss Marianne, my brother Edward Ferrars. I declare, Mrs. Dashwood, I'm beginning to doubt of her existence. She must run positively wild.
Pray forgive us, Mr. Ferrars. My youngest is not to be found this morning. She's a little shy of strangers at present.
Well, naturally. I'm shy of strangers myself, and I have nothing like her excuse. Your stables are very handsome and beautifully kept, Mrs. Dashwood. An oversight, Fanny, had led me to one of the family rooms, but I've rectified the situation and am very happily installed in the guest quarters.
Oh, see? An oversight.
Tea.
Oh, do you see what happened? Pause. Do you see what happened? He said that it was an oversight, that he was led to one of the ladies' rooms and he quickly rectified the matter and, changed his room. You see that? He's a good person. He's a good person because they had to take out Margaret, who I think is the other daughter in the treehouse. They had to take her out of her room so that he could, as their guest, could stay in Margaret's room. And he turned it down. He said he rectified the matter, which was very humbling. This Fanny is a witch. Play.
They're all exceedingly spoilt, I find. That is no excuse.
But that is no excuse. How do you know?
Indeed. Magnificent.
Never like the smell of books.
I hear you have great plans for the Walnut Grove.
Oh, yes. I shall have it knocked down.
Oh, see what he did.
We do not need 4 bedrooms. We can share. I will send out more inquiries today. Won't you come out, dearest? We haven't seen you all day.
Forgive me. Do you, by any chance, have such a thing as a reliable atlas? And I wish to check the position of the Nile. My sister tells me it is in South America. I think you must be thinking of the Volga.
The Volga?
Of course, the Volga.
Oh, the source of the Nile is in Abyssinia.
Edward Ferrars.
Margaret Dashwood.
Delighted to make your acquaintance.
Sir, I have no doubt.
You'll certainly ask the name as well. Do not.
They were being smart and sneaky, trying to get her out of the table by falsely describing the whereabouts of the Nile. And this one was saying it's in Africa, this one was saying it's in somewhere, and she knew where it was, so she came out and was like, what? He's such a nice person. Let him speak to his sister so they can stay. The house is clearly big enough for everybody.
Favourite. Has she shown you the treehouse?
Not yet.
With pleasure.
Sword fighting, obviously. Administering rum and swabbing.
Uh-oh. Why is the mommy smiling? Uh-oh.
Barrister would serve as long as I drove a barouche and dined in the first circle.
What do you wish for? Would you stay in London?
I hate London. No peace. A country living is my ideal.
Imagine how that is compounded when one has no hope and no choice of any occupation whatsoever.
Our circumstances are therefore precisely the same.
No, it's not.
Except that you will inherit your fortune. We cannot even earn ours.
Perhaps Margaret is right.
Right?
Piracy is our only option.
Piracy.
Snatched from all effectual aid, we perished each alone.
No voice divine the storm allayed, no light propitious shone. When snatched from all effectual aid, we perished each alone. Can you not feel his despair? Try again.
I should be pleased to offer you a home at Barton Cottage as soon as ever you have need. Has Eleanor not yet seen this?
No, I will fetch her.
Wait, no. Edward and Eleanor have formed an attachment. It would be cruel to take her away so soon. Devonshire is so far.
His reading last night.
But Eleanor has not your feelings. His reserve suits her.
Why not?
To love is to burn, to be on fire. How can you say so? What could be more glorious?
I think that may be taking your romantic sensibilities a little far.
'Tis not a blossom shed as soon as youth drops from the stem of life. For it will grow in barren regions where no waters flow, nor ray of promise cheats the pensive gloom. It is that Edward has no passion for reading.
It was you who asked him to read, and then you made him nervous.
Everything that is amiable and worthy. But he shall have my unswerving devotion when you tell me that he is to be my brother. But you must promise not to live too far away.
Marianne, there is no question. That is, there is. I like him.
Esteem him. Like him.
Greatly.
Use those insipid words again and I shall leave the room this instant.
Very well, forgive me.
My phone is
Believe
ringing.
my
I
feelings
can't
to be
pick it
stronger
up.
than I have declared, but further than that you must not believe.
I do not attempt to deny that I think very highly of him, that I greatly esteem him,
Sister is terrible.
that I like him.
It's not love, right? But that's who she is. Like the other sister in Pride and Prejudice, right? They're not forward with their affection. People are different. Clearly, Marianne has more pizzazz.
Much is expected of him by our mother with regard to his profession.
Naturally.
Unfortunately, we cannot always rely on the heart to lead us in the most suitable directions. You see, my dear Mrs. Dashwood, Edward is entirely the kind of compassionate person upon whom penniless women can prey. I worry for him so, Mrs. Dashwood. My mother has always made it perfectly plain that she will withdraw all financial support from Edward should he choose to plant his affections in less exalted ground than he deserves.
My cousin, Sir John Middleton, has offered us a small house on his estate.
Sir John Middleton?
Oh, a cottage! How charming. A little cottage is always very snug.
I should like that very much.
Edward has long been expected in town by our mother.
Is she talking to the horse? Was she talking to the horse?
Cannot you take him with you?
We cannot possibly afford him.
Are you going
I must speak to you.
Yes, please.
There's something of great importance that I need to... It was conducted, oddly enough, in Plymouth. In a school run by Mr. Pratt.
And? Sir, what is it? Spit it out.
Yes, Pratt. And, that is to say, he has
Edward, I've been all over for you. You're needed in London this instant.
I'm leaving this afternoon as it is.
No, that will not do. Mamma is quite adamant you should leave at once.
We should leave her at once. Look at her bringing her. She was looking at him because she was afraid that in the minute she didn't see him, he might have come here to say something to this one. This sister is a demon. Can you believe that, Sister Fanny, of a witch? He was probably going to make a commitment. I don't know where he was going with the whole education and school, but he was probably going to end up at the end of that conversation.
Edward promised to bring the atlas to Barton for me.
Did he?
And to think now in 2024, women will just get down on one knee and propose. Some won't even get down on the knee. Like, listen, I think we should just live together. We've come a long way.
You're extraordinary kind.
No, none of that! Hush, please, none of that. Horrible. Oh, you poor soul! Why did you not come up to the park first and take your ease?
Little company. Oh, but I feel as if I know you already.
Every day.
Oh, my dear Sir John, we cannot possibly.
No.
We settle in for 2 days, but thank you so very
No, thank you.
I declare.
It's not as big as your house, but at least.
And send your man up to us for the carriage as soon as you're ready. Come on, boys, come on.
It's cold. To have lived a life of luxury and now...
I'm cold.
Where can Brandon be? Poor fellow, I hope he's not lamed his horn.
But I dare say she's left her heart behind in Sussex. I see you, Miss Marianne. I think I've unearthed a secret.
Oh.
You're in lonely country now, Miss Dashwood. We none of us have any secrets here. He's curate of the parish, I dare say.
Or perhaps a handsome lieutenant.
You know perfectly well there is no such person.
There is, and his name begins with an F.
Margaret.
An F, indeed. Now, there's a promising letter. Let me... F.
Foster?
There's one.
Please forgive me. An entertainment, I declare. I cannot remember when we last had a songbird in the house.
Snape! I'm so happy. Oh, wow. What? Professor, your hair looks nice.
Rest you then, rest now softly.
Have you really been to the East Indies, Colonel?
I have.
Sir John,
I believe I know what key you will sing in.
Please. Stop it. Leave her alone.
And as for you, you have no right at all to parade your ignorant assumptions.
They're not assumptions.
Mrs. Jennings is not everyone.
I like her. She talks about things. We never talk about things.
Hush, please. That is enough, Margaret. If you cannot think of anything appropriate to say, you will please restrict your remarks to the weather.
Careful. Careful.
Word is you've developed a taste for certain company. Brandon, my boy, do not think of yourself so meanly.
All the better for...
He says no. He's interested, but he doesn't think she's interested in him. You know what I mean? Because he's older than she is, clearly. That's her mother's cousin's friend that went to the East Indies. Like, she's more mature.
Oh, Lord bless you. As long as ever I've been here, and I came 15 years back. His estate at Delaford is but 4 miles hence, and he and John are very thick. 20 years ago now. A ward to his family, but they were not permitted to marry.
Oh.
Lord Grant.
Money. Eliza was poor. When the father discovered their amour, she was flung out of the house. He was packed up into the army. She was passed from man to man. Disappeared from all good society. When Brandon came back from India, he searched heaven knows how long, only to find her dying in a poorhouse. But look at him now.
No.
Colonel Brandon, we have not heard you play for us of late. Perhaps you did not know, Miss Marianne, that our dear Brandon shares your passion for music. I trow you know as many melancholy tunes as Miss Marianne.
I do not know any duets.
How embarrassing.
Oh, we're never to have a moment's peace.
When is it private? While you are up at the
It is too ridiculous. When is a man to be safe from such wit if age and infirmity do not protect him?
Infirmity?
If Brandon is infirm, then I am at death's door.
It is a miracle your life has extended this far.
Oh, the atlas that he promised. Oh.
Alas, business in London does not permit me to accompany it.
Why hasn't he come?
He says he's busy, dear. I fear Mrs. Jennings is a bad influence. She loves you, dearest, of that I'm certain. But Eleanor, your heart must tell you.
In such a situation, Mamma, it is perhaps better to use one's head.
Giving me a cough is not giving you a field full of rabbits.
Is it going to rain again like it did in Pride and Prejudice and you get sick?
I told you it would rain. There's some blue sky. Let us chase it. Ah! Marianne!
Oh my god.
Are you hurt? It is not broken. Now, can you put your arm about my neck?
Oh, look at this one. Look at
Allow
her
me to
face.
escort you home.
She's in love.
She fell over. She fell down and he's carrying her. Marianne, my darling. Are you alright?
It's tall and
It's a twisted
handsome.
ankle.
Do not be alarmed, Mamma. Please place them
I can assure you it's not serious.
Please, will you not be seated?
Pray excuse me, I have no desire to leave a watermark.
Margaret, give the gentleman his hat.
Thank you.
What an impressive gentleman.
Very impressive.
He left
Margaret, ask Betsy to make up a cold compress, please.
and honour.
and spirit and wit and feeling.
And economy. 10 words at most. Okay, very much when your nose swells up.
You all right? Help me, Eleanor.
And meanwhile, Margaret was like,
There's not a bolder rider in all England.
But what is he like?
He has the smartest little bitch of a pointer. Was she out with him yesterday?
Where is Allenham, Sir John?
Allenham? Nice little estate, 3 miles east. He's to inherit it from an elderly relative. Lady Allen's the name.
It's kind of random. I shall go outside and keep watch.
Miss Marianne, I cannot think why you should set your cap at Willoughby when you've already made such a splendid conquest.
I have no intention of setting my cap at anyone, Sir John.
And he has a very pretty estate of his own, you know, Miss Dashwood. Cum Magna in... Come, Brandon, we know when we are not wanted. Let us leave him to the ladies. It's a little one like that.
How do you do, Colonel?
How does he do? How do you do, more like?
look at the bouquet he brought. It's smaller than this guy's own. Oh, she's pinching her cheeks so that they're rosy pink. You know how they... Because they...
Mr. Willoughby.
The neighborhood is crawling with my spies. And since you cannot venture out to nature... I see mine is not the first offering, nor the most elegant. Then the first news I had from Lady Allen when I arrived was that it was taken.
Oh, see,
Who is reading
right
Shakespeare's
beside her.
sonnets? And which are your favourites?
Without a doubt, mine is 116. Oh no,
It
is an ever-fixed mark.
It's strange you should be reading these, but look, I carry them with me always. And my pocket sonnets are yours, Miss Marianne. A talisman against further injury.
You've covered Shakespeare, Scott, all forms of poetry. No doubt of your enthusiasm for him.
Why should he doubt it? 7 years would be insufficient to make some people acquainted with each other, and 7 days can be more than enough for others. If I had more shallow feelings, I could perhaps conceal them as you do.
Marianne, that is not fair.
The shade. Shallow feelings. Oh my God, girl. You remind me of that sister in Pride and Prejudice that made a bad decision. The other one who was always talking, and that they had to rescue one time because she ran off with the guy to marry him.
Haven't you finished yet?
Patience.
There is nothing under 10 pence a pound, Mamma. We have to economise.
It's touching her face. He's cutting her hair. Are we allowed to do that?
Has already exposed you to some very impertinent remarks. Proof of impropriety, then we are all offending every moment of our lives.
On my estate at Delaford, if you would care to join us. I will, of course, be including Mr. Willoughby in the party.
Excellent. I understand you have a particularly fine pianoforte, Colonel.
I'm happy for her. She's in love, but I'm sad for him because, you know...
In fact, her romantic prejudices have the unfortunate tendency to set propriety at naught. The sooner she becomes acquainted with the ways of the world, the better.
I knew a lady very like your sister, the same impulsive sweetness of temper, who was forced into, as you put it, a better acquaintance with the world. The result was only ruination and despair.
Colonel Brandon's lawn is perfect for kite launching. We must have your sky kite.
When Charlotte and her lord and master appeared with our cousin Lucy, the last person I expected to see. There are no funds for such luxuries at home, poor thing.
I'd not seen you for so long, dear Mrs. Jennings. I couldn't resist the opportunity.
Oh, you sly thing! It was the Mrs. Dashwood she wanted to see, not Delaford, Mamma. I have heard nothing but Miss Dashwood, this Miss...
Nothing like.
Mr. Palmer, do you know you are quite rude today?
Mr. Palmer is so droll. He's always out of humour. No!
Oh, my God. Lady, calm down.
Welcome to our party, Miss Steele.
Turn about.
Come round, boys, come round.
I would be delighted.
From whom?
But Sir John and Mrs. Jennings are too excessive in their compliments.
My horse, quickly.
What's the matter, Brandon?
Passed away to London. Forgive me.
I hope it's nothing serious.
A very wicked pair. Colonel Brandon will be sadly missed.
Come, Mr. Impudence. I know you and your wicked ways. If I do not have you married to the Colonel by tea time, I shall swallow my own bonnet. Of disliking him, as much as I adore. Were I rich enough, I would instantly pull down Combe Magna and rebuild it in the exact image of this cottage. But this place has one claim on my affections that none other can possibly share. Miss Marianne, will you do me the honour of granting me an interview tomorrow? Alone. There's something very particular I should like to ask you. Until tomorrow, then.
He's going to propose. Oh my God, he wants to be alone with her. So that's how it's done. Remember, in Pride and Prejudice, that's how the guy came into the room and he said,
Oh, virtue.
Think he'll kneel down when he asks
The fear of him is the beginning of wisdom.
What happened?
Willoughby?
He's breaking into her. He's breaking
out. Exercised the privilege of riches upon a dependent cousin and is sending me to London. I have no idea of returning immediately into Devonshire. Well, my engagements at present are of such a nature. It is folly to linger in this manner. I will not torment myself further.
Said I will not torment myself further.
What is wrong, my love? Do not ask me questions.
Betsy!
Please, let me be.
And has invented an excuse to send him away.
Then why did he not say as much? No, he loves her, I'm sure.
Of course he loves her. We must trust her to confide in us in her own time. You are resolved then to think the worst of him?
Not resolved.
I prefer to give him the benefit of my good opinion.
Mamma! Mamma!
Let me in.
This is serious. Pause, please. These women are killing. Everyone is crying today. Oh, I'm trying to understand what Willoughby was saying because he was saying it too fast. The auntie who had promised him an inheritance has decided to give her blessings to someone else, right? And has called for him to return to somewhere else, far away from her, from Marianne. My question is that even if the auntie has said, okay, move, couldn't he have proposed to Marianne still and be engaged? And when he goes to London, he sets up whatever it is to marry her. Or wouldn't that be a more reasonable way to handle it? But breaking up with her, he never said anything in his speech that the auntie didn't want him to marry her. He didn't say anything like that. The relative who, He didn't say anything like that. Or maybe that's the case, as it was with Pride and Prejudice, that they always have somebody else they have in mind. And also with this case, remember what Edward's sister was saying about the mother not wanting Edward to marry below standard. It could be the same thing with this aunt. She was like, listen, if I'm going to give you this amount of money, you also have to marry somebody who is at par, who would carry on the estate as well, right? And he, like she was saying, the mother was like, why won't he say that to her? But it's not something you want to tell someone. It's something that you keep within family, right? You wouldn't want Miriam to feel unworthy or to feel like she's less than. So the way he's doing it is probably just letting her down slowly and softly because he doesn't know how to break it to her. That's one thing. Because I can't see telling you that your auntie wants to leave should not affect an engagement. Yes, you can leave. Go accomplish another task or whatever task she's sending you to. Another thing I would like to discuss, I love the maturity of Brandon, and I'm trying not to let my Snapey feelings, because I've watched him in Harry Potter, get involved with his character now. Because clearly I'm all for older, guys, and even with my spouse, there's a 10-year age difference. I love the maturity but Willoughby is handsome. He has been well behaved. He's passionate. He appeals to Marianne's sensibilities and her personality. You can see she's a passionate person. She's not forward only, but she expresses herself completely. She's kind of like, if I love you, I love you. There's no need to pretend, right? There's no need to act like I don't see you. I don't care. I care, and that's the kind of thing that I like. That's the kind of expression of affection that I like to receive. But I'm also sensitive to people's own experiences, and in relation to Colin Brandon, you can see what that woman said, Miss Jennings. She said that he had suffered a love. He had been in love before 20 years ago, and his father didn't let him have a relationship with that person. And that caused the woman to, go into her own perilous life, heartbreak, going from man to man. And then by the time he could get a ring of it, she died, right? People who have loved and lost are very careful not to throw their heart out there like that. And that could be why he isn't too forward with Marianne, because he's experienced it and he has lost it, and he doesn't want his heart to be broken again. So the way he's playing it is that I'm going to be courteous, I'm going to be patient, I'm going to show you that my affections are there until I can't show you anymore. And for someone whose personality is the sun, anytime the cloud comes around, you frown on it. You're like, no, I don't want it. I don't want you, stay back. She complained about his age. She didn't want, and they had things in common. You can see he's patient with her when he was trying to do the bowling thing in the garden. That forte that they were talking about with their music, he knew how to do it. He was willing to do a duet. It's just playing on the other side of different keys and playing the same. He's playing the same note. She didn't want none of it. I don't know if he's into poetry as well, but you can see clearly Willoughby was into everything, and Willoughby is handsome. Please, we have to give it to that guy. Chest and breast, height and what? Listen, he had it all. Willoughby is handsome, so anyone who's looking at him isn't going to have their wits about them, if I might say so myself. So I don't blame her. I don't know. I just feel, and Willoughby is fun. Like, he's fun. Sometimes you have to build up some excitement in your relationship. I like both of them, to be honest. I personally, my kind of man is more of, Colonel Brandon, because like I said, I lean towards the mature adults. Yeah, even when I was in my early, as I was getting to my teen years, late teens, I was like, oh no, I want older guys, and because they always smelled so nice, like. When your daddy and his guests come over, when they're smoking cigars and doing everything, they just looked so sensible and calm, and their laugh always echoed. That's one of the reasons. So when I remember in school, when he laughed, it sounded like a chicken. But I remember when I'm so sorry. You love who you love, but I'm just saying, it just sounded, chickens don't laugh, but it just sounded wrong. But I remember listening to my husband laugh from a distance, and it was like, considering my laugh is out of this world, I shouldn't be judging people by their laughs anyway. If you like older, you like older. It is what it is. But now, I think, knowing what I know about the world, I think truly don't age, as long as they're an adult and you're an adult, even if they're above 10 years, it's like, be open-minded, right? Be open-minded. I would say so myself, but when I was, in my teens, I was like, no, he has to be older than me. Yeah. Okay, so that's beside the point. That's not beside the point per se, but that's to the side. What else did I want to... I think Miss Jennings talks too much. And I understand her... you get to a certain age as a grandma. Who are you trying to impress? What can you say that anyone is going to critique or criticize? It is what it is. You are your person. You've lived your life. So if you decide to discuss something, you're going to discuss it. Why should you be ashamed or hesitant? That's Mrs. Jennings, and she's so much fun. She likes pairing up people. I have an aunt oh my God, she lives to pair people up. As long as she can see boobs, she'll who are you marrying? Please don't let these boobs fall before. She was that kind of person. And she's so wonderful. She's so wonderful. What else do I want to say? Oh, that scene where John Middleton was, you remember when Colonel Brandon came in and had to give Marianne flowers? I felt so much for him. And John had seen, of course, John knows that his friend likes Marianne, and the way he came, he put everything out in the open because he didn't want his friend to make a fool of himself. He was like, Mr. Willoughby is on his way, and let's be gone so that we don't humiliate ourselves or embarrass ourselves. He wasn't talking about himself because those are his nieces. He was giving a message to his friend so that his friend could take heed, drop the flowers, and let them go. You can see by the time they were outside, John Middleton didn't really care for Willoughby, and he just, clicked his heels together and walked off. It was Brandon who tilted his hat, stepped back, saluted and greeted him and said, I'll be going. I noticed that about him, and I think that there's a brotherhood, brothers in arms, when they've gone to war together and come back and survive. There's a bond there, right? All right, let's get back into the movie. Play.
Only you would stop.
'Twas you took her off my hands, Mr. Palmer, and a very good bargain you made of it, too. Miss Marianne, come and play around with us. Looking out at the weather will not bring you back. Mind, we're all a little forlorn these days.
Oh my God!
London
Pause! Mrs. Jennings' daughter is the Pepto-Bismol bitch. My chest. Oh my God. She was the wench in Harry Potter with the pink I don't want to say her name. I would cringe. Oh my God. Goosebumps on my body. I'm aching. Just the thought of that woman. I will not lie. I will not lie. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Why did I see it now? I wish I didn't see it. I wish I didn't see it. I hate. Oh my God. Oh my God. Do you know the scene I'm remembering? I remember the scene where Harry was writing, I will tell no lies. And the one where she tried to tower over McGonagall when she went to the stairs. Please, don't ruin this film for me. Don't ruin it for me. Oh my gosh.
I cannot imagine so.
But it is an odd question. Oh, forgive me, I've no wish to trouble.
I cannot believe it is that far. You can see the place on the top of our hill. Is it really 5.5?
You must think me strange for inquiring. I had no idea that you were at all connected with that family.
Oh, do you have an understanding with Fanny's brother, Robert?
The youngest? No, I never met him in my life. No, with Edward.
With Edward?
Edward and I have been secretly engaged these 5 years.
Jesus is Lord. You lie.
I should never have mentioned it had I not known I could entirely trust you to keep our secret.
So why are you telling
Edward
me?
would not mind my telling you.
Why?
For I know he looks on you quite as his own sister.
He looks on me like his sister.
I'm sorry.
He was 4 years under the tutelage of my uncle, Mr. Pratt, down in Plymouth. But we loved each other with too great a passion for prudence.
Oh, the handkerchief. Oh my God. No, this girl is pretending. No, it's not possible. Why are you holding
You seem out of sorts,
the
Mr.
hanky that way?
Perfectly well, thank you. See? I give you my word.
Well, and what can have fascinated you to such an extent, Miss Dashwood?
Tell us all.
While you were so busy whispering, Charlotte and I have concocted a plan.
Oh, it is the best plan in the world.
I make for London shortly, and I invite you, Lucy, and both of Mrs. Dashwood to join me.
Splendid.
London! Isn't it splendid? It is exactly what I would wish.
I will brook no refusal, Miss Dashwood.
Everything. Wonderful to say, Mrs. Dashwood. The cat
Pause, and pause. I'm feeling internal heat. Listen to me. Listen to me very well. Listen to me while I organize these thoughts in my head. There is no way. The Edward that I know, the Edward that I just saw, is not a liar. Doesn't look like a liar. Doesn't look like a pretender. Very kind, soft, sent us the atlas. Is secretly engaged to another woman. Is that what he wanted to tell her at the stables? But he didn't look like he wanted to say he was engaged. I didn't know what he wanted to say. He was talking about a teacher and stuff like that. But how did that woman get his handkerchief? That means he gave it to her. Because a handkerchief is a very intimate thing. But my question is, why would this woman, Lucy, pinpoint her to tell this information? You know when someone is cunning, they go, you know what I mean? Why tell me? Why tell me? If you people, he said, what did he say? Did Edward speak of Miss Dashwood, Helena, in a very exalted manner that made this one think that Edward had a liking or preference for Helena, and this Lucy wants to now squash it because the way she pretentiously blew her nose within the same angle of his initials. Listen, I know women, I know people are cunning. People are cunning. The way that Lucy's eyes. Oh, I want to meet something. Why did you remember when they were outdoors and in the lot or whatever, the front of the house, where she was like, "Oh, I've always wanted to meet you, Miss Jen," and then what's her name? Mrs. Palmer's daughter, wife, Mr. Palmer's wife, Mrs. Jennings' daughter, Charlotte, yes, I wrote her name. Charlotte said, "You lie, that you wanted to meet Miss Dashwood, that's why you came." Lucy has an agenda. I can't believe that Edward was lying and pretending all that time. Why? And if he was pretending, it was only because he loves her. He loves Helena and he wants her and he wants to break up with this girl. And this girl is trying to come and break any alliances by presenting herself as a fiance. Because he wouldn't do something so pretentious and cunning. The little I've seen of him, and by hiding that whole Atlas thing was very revealing about his personality. The conversations they had when they were riding on horses about him wanting to be, did he say, have a parish and stuff like that? Just like a peaceful, loving person. No. I can't believe it. I can't believe that what Lucy is saying is true.
I shall see Willoughby, and you will see Edward.
Willoughby. Oh, is that why she wants to go to London? Because she thinks she'll see Willoughby.
Oh, I will never sleep tonight.
And yet I do not know how much you may seek him. Although secrecy is vital.
Never to have had any doubts on that score.
Oh, I'm of rather a jealous nature. Imagine how glad he'll be to learn that we're friends.
Lord Armando, if I might suggest the ordering of coal.
Don't talk to me of coals!
So they are definitely engaged.
John and Fanny are in town. I think we shall be forced to see them.
Yes, you're right.
Marianne, do sit down for 2 seconds together.
Oh, Eleanor, it is Willoughby. Oh. Excuse me, Colonel.
I have heard reports through town that... Is everything finally resolved between your sister and Mr. Willoughby?
I have no doubt of their mutual affection.
To your sister, I wish all imaginable happiness. Forgive me.
Forgive you what? Say the thing that I would forgive you for after. Just say it. That's one thing about this movies. In those days, they were like, because propriety does not permit you gossiping.
Good now?
Who indeed? My brother, Mrs. Jennings, Mr. Edward Ferrars.
The F.
Is that Ferrars with an F?
Of course it is. What is that?
Very little acquaintance in town.
She's sending another letter.
Now do not.
I had not thought of that. Thank you, Mrs. Jennings.
The houseman is not impressed.
It's beginning to rain also. Now follow me.
Oh, wow. This girl is desperate. Why is she acting so like she should be more cultured? Like she's sending a letter every day. Willoughby has not responded. Leave him now. Do you know what I mean? It's not like he went off to war.
No. This is not.
This is very merry!
Lux, fortunately not.
How can you be such a tease, Mr. Harper? There is Miss... Your brother, I declare.
Why is
this
that
is
one
good
whole
news
thing?
indeed.
Miss Dashwood, Miss Steele, Miss Marianne.
Is Mr. Edward not here? Miss Dashwood here was counting on him.
Oh, he...
Robert, in the absence of your brother, you must dance with our lovely Miss Dashwood.
Perhaps Miss Steele might consider reserving the Alamo.
Oh, see his face. He's angry. Oh, he doesn't want to dance with her.
You reside in Devonshire, I believe, Miss Dan. I am excessively fond of the cottage.
Willoughby.
Thank you.
How's your family?
We are all extremely well.
Willoughby! Good God, Willoughby!
Willoughby, what is the matter? Why have you not come to see me?
If you will excuse me, I must rejoin my party.
Oh my God. Why is he acting like he doesn't know her? What did we do? What happened? He's with another woman. It's a woman. Tell me.
Force him to come to me instantly.
You must come away.
So force him to come to me instantly. Why are you looking at me like that? I said, oh, do you know that lady? Indeed. What did she say? What did she say? What did they say behind my back? They said something my affections.
There you are, my dear. Oh, my goodness. We must go.
Oh, you're leaving so soon.
If I might be so bold, Mrs.
Mr. Pidgeot was not himself then.
Marianne, please tell me.
Do not ask me questions.
You have no confidence in me.
This reproach from you. You who confide in no one. I because I conceal nothing, and you because you communicate nothing.
Oh wow, see her.
I do wish Lady Charteris would limit her invitation list. Lovers' quarrels are swift to heal. I do hope he doesn't keep her waiting much longer, Miss Dashwood.
It is perhaps fortunate that none of them knows of your engagement. Excuse me.
My esteem for your family is very sincere, but if I have given rise to a belief of more than I felt or meant to express, I shall reproach myself for not having been more guarded.
Oh my God.
My affections have long been engaged elsewhere, and it is with great regret that I return your letters and the lock of hair which you so obligingly bestowed upon.
It is best to know what his intentions are at once. Think of what you would have felt if...
He's not so unworthy as you think.
Not so unworthy.
Did he tell you that he loved you?
Sure?
Sometimes I thought it had been, but it never was.
Oh my God.
He has broken no vow. He has broken faith with all of us. He made us all believe he loved you. He did. He did.
I had to come straight up. How are you, Miss Marianne? 'Tis but too true. I was told in the street here by Miss Morton, a very great friend. He is to be married at the end of the month to a Miss Grey with £50,000. Well, said I, if 'tis true, then he is a good for nothing. Who's you? Better let her have her cry out, and I'm done with it.
Yes, there is, there's something we call mistake by omission and commission. In the sense that sometimes by failing to say something but implying it, you're still responsible. Willoughby clearly and definitely gave the impression that he was in love with Marianne. I don't give two, let me not curse, it's not ladylike. We're watching Sense and Sensibility, so I better have my senses around me at this moment, as angry as I am. He definitely knew what he was doing. I don't know why he chose to deceive her or whether he was really in love with her, because he knew from the very beginning, he knew that they didn't have that kind of money. He must have known that the cottage, they lived in a cottage, they didn't have many servants, they didn't have so much. Do you understand? So why would he have played with her affection or given her the impression that there was love there if he knew that he didn't want, or he was going to be easily bought over because of money? You know this girl, you knew, you swung her around, you carried her, you felt her ankles, you cut her hair, for God's sake, man. You cut her hair, and you're telling me that you that if I don't know whether something, the misfortune or been so unfortunate as to give you the impression, you did not only give me the impression, you acted on the impression, you performed acts, you zoomed into my face. You held my hand, you touched my ankles, my feet. Like, this guy pushed boundaries that women at that time did not let. I leaned all the time. carriage riding. I didn't put a pillow between us. I was leaning into so you could feel my tatas. I know that I was interested. Willoughby knew what he was doing. No, that letter was cruel. Maybe the woman he's engaged to, the £50,000 woman, was standing over him as he wrote it. You kept her hair. Or did she send you another lock of hair again in one of the letters? Who knows? All I'm saying is that Willoughby is a deceiver. And that's one part. The other part is that maybe he truly liked her and he decided to just go for money and say, listen, Jesus, oh my Lord. Look at the moment when she saw him at the ball and she screamed. The whole hall went zoom, because no, women don't raise their voices in that time. And she screamed, she called out to him. The guy didn't know how to react. I wanted to hear the conversation, but the thing is, like, she was talking, the music was playing. I couldn't hear what he was saying to that woman on the other side, the £50,000 woman, because that one turned round and looked at her from head to toe, like, you could see the look of disgust. Maybe she was scanning the girl like, oh, her dress, pitiful. Then I heard something about something affection, something to imply that maybe the girl is one of those teenage things running after him, you know, like a butterfly, someone without ambition. Hey! The humiliation in that party. And as the sister Eleanor took her sister away, the girl almost fainted on the dance floor. Mother on the dance floor. Like, I'm tired. I can't. I feel so embarrassed. I could scream. I feel the humiliation. This girl. But you see what life, you see, these are the stories they tell us. Let me drop this pen. These are the stories that our mothers tell us about being in love with the appearance and the performatory of what love is. You know what I mean? Sometimes you get so caught up. Oh, he writes me love letters. Oh, he can sing. My mom will say the way he's singing bula 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 for you, he's singing it to 100 other girls. Bula bula bula. You think that the handsome big chest that you're singing, you're the only one who's seen it. All the girls that had my mom is he said the way he's making you laugh, kiki like a chicken, he's making other girls laugh that way. Make sure that you choose a responsible person, someone with a track record of being disciplined and showing restraint. You know what I mean? It's not the guy who has the sweetest line. What is love if thou love is something? What is it that they bended not and bended knees? Listen, after quoting Shakespeare for you, he's quoting Michelangelo, painting Michelangelo for another person. So it's not about having those skill sets to make you sweep you off your feet. It's about the reputation, about the legacy that he's left behind. It's one of those reasons that our parents always said, when you're engaged to someone, we do it in Nigeria, they make sure they go back and they find the family members. They want to know if he is impregnated June in August, or if he has impregnated May in September. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they always make sure they can trace his reputation, that he's just not a random randy person breaking hearts from here, or has several wives down the line. Remember what this guy said to Helena. Brandon said to Helena, he said, I hope he came to confirm if there was truly a relationship subsisting between Marianne and Willoughby, because he wanted to be sure of where he stood and not just make a fool out of himself. That moment when he came and Marianne was like, oh, hello, Colonel Brandon, and walked out. Clearly, he's an adult. He knows that, okay, this young girl isn't really interested in me. So he wanted to just play his cards right and make things, let me know where I stand with this girl. Let me know what I'm doing with myself. And ask the sister something. The sister said, yes, there is a mutual affection between the both of them. Breaking it and stopping Brandon from doing anything any further. Brandon now said, I hope Willoughby would prove to be of her affection, worthy of her affections. Why would he say that? Normally, if somebody's engaged to another, it's like, oh, she's a handsome lady, he's a great gentleman. But he was saying impliedly that Willoughby might not be a worthy suitor to her. You hear what I mean? It is so heartbreaking. And by the way, I don't know why. I can see that people are really irritated by Miss Jennings, but Miss Jennings is truly the perfect auntie. I'm telling you, she wants to know the gist so that she can present the gist. I like people who don't harbor secrets. You see, all this nonsense would have been easily resolved if they had told Miss Jennings about Willoughby earlier on, because she would have gone into the streets and found out that this 50, look at how she just stepped out her front door, and already she said that she's spoken to Miss Morton, and Miss Morton was the one who told her that Willoughby was engaged to somebody with £50,000. If they had told her, sometimes it's good to have someone in the streets. It's good that you're like, oh no, I don't gossip. I'm not asking you to gossip, but you must have information. You're coming in from a family where you've been sheltered, protected, living in your castle, happily. Now you're moving to London, the city where things happen very fast. You need someone to hold your hand like a chaperone. Auntie, this person is asking me out. What do you know about it? Quickly. That's my godmother. She would have found out. What did you say his surname is? You said it's F. F for finger? Okay. Don't go. He's been fingering women all over town. You know. Quickly. Oh, what is it? He's from the Willoughby family? Oh, no. Their mothers are witches. Their fathers are wizards. Stay away. Very good. You get it out. But because they're even between themselves, they secretly, I don't know what Jane Austen is with sisters and secrets. Like, she and her sister, I wonder, like, she just, it's the same thing with Pride and Prejudice. The sisters, they were not intimately connected with the gist somehow. They were just surface level, building up things. Anyway, but that's besides the point. Let's dive into the story. I like Mrs. Jennings. I like her 100%. I want her to be my auntie. Like I've said before, I have an aunt who is exactly like that. She wouldn't let you make a mistake. Why waste your life? Why waste your time making mistakes here and there where you can have the answers to the exam questions? What is the point of breaking her heart so? Because she wanted to do things. You want to figure, listen, there's a reason why God gave you one heart. And if he wanted you to break it consistently, he would have given you multiple, one for every other organ, so that you can break this heart, throw it away. But it's just one heart you have. So you have to make the best decision when it comes to relationships or anything that really affects your soul.
I think, my dear, we might consider having them to stay with us for a few days. We are, after all, family.
I've already asked Miss Steele for a visit. Poor girl.
Excellent notion.
Can you imagine? We can invite them, but your own family members have been coming around him. She's nasty. Fanny is nasty.
How is your sister?
I must get her home as quickly as possible. What pains me most is how hard she tries to justify Mr. Willoughby. But you know her disposition.
Miss Dashwood, would you allow me to relate some circumstances which nothing but an earnest desire of being useful?
You have something to tell me of Mr. Willoughby.
What do you know?
When I quitted Barton last...
Which one?
The sad outcome of my connection with a young woman named Eliza. 20 years ago, before she died, Eliza bore an illegitimate child. I had failed Eliza in every other way. I could not refuse her now. And God, forgive me, I indulged her. I allowed her too much freedom. On the day of the Delaford picnic, I received the first news of her.
That's why you were running. That's why you were
She
going.
was with child. And the blackguard who had left her with no hint
Willoughby.
of his whereabouts.
Willoughby.
Yes, he left us that morning without any explanation.
Lady Allen had annulled his legacy. He was left with next to nothing. She has chosen to return to the country for her confinement. Miss Dashwood, had I not from my heart believed it might in time, but I have since learnt from Lady Allen that he did mean to propose that day, and therefore I feel certain that he would have married her.
Dearest, was I right to tell you? Of course. Whatever his present course, at least you may be certain that he loved you.
But not enough.
But not enough.
That's what I was saying, my dear. That's what I was saying. Not enough. But still, why would you want love from that kind of man?
How are you enjoying your stay with John and Fanny, Miss Deal?
There's a Mr. Edward Ferrars to see you, Miss Dashwood.
Oh.
Mr. Ferrars.
Miss Dashwood. Miss Dashwood, how can I...
You know Miss Steele, of course.
Oh?
You must be surprised to find me here, Mr. Ferrars. I expect you thought I was at your sister's house.
Edward, I heard your voice. At last you found us. Why have you not come to see us before?
I have been much engaged elsewhere.
Will you not sit? Eleanor, help me to persuade him.
Why is Lucy's
Forgive me. I must take my leave.
Like a witch.
Oh, in that case, perhaps you might escort me back to your sister's house, Mr. Ferrars.
If I were Edward, I would assume you did not care for me at all.
It would not surprise me if you were to marry far and away beyond your expectations.
It is a very great secret.
I can assure you, I am as silent as the grave.
Could it be true? Miss Jennings has probably heard. Miss Jennings has heard and she's off to tell the tale. I love her.
Has demanded that he break the engagement on pain of disinheritance. But he has refused to break his promise to Lucy. He has stood by her good man and is cut off without a penny. She has settled it all irrevocably on Mr. Robert. But
Since the night Mrs. Jennings offered to take us to London, he'd made no promises. He tried to tell me about Lucy.
He cannot marry her. But nor would I have him marry where he does not love.
Edward made his promise a long time ago, long before he met me. Though he may harbour some regret, I believe that he will be happy. Bewitching in the idea of one's happiness entirely depending on one person.
Always resignation and acceptance.
Eleanor, where is your heart?
For weeks, Marianne, I've had this pressing on me, without being at liberty to speak of it to a single creature. It was forced on me by the very person whose prior claims ruined all my hopes. I'd not been bound to silence, I could have produced proof enough of a broken heart, even for you.
Have I been rightly informed? Is it so?
It is indeed so.
But I know only too well the cruelty. I have a proposal to make that should enable him to marry Miss Steele immediately.
Colonel, I am sure he would be only too delighted to hear it from your own lips.
His behaviour has proved him proud.
Mr. Ferrars.
Miss Dashwood.
I have good news. Do please sit down.
Yes, I've heard his name.
Colonel Brandon desires me to say that, in the hope that it may enable you and Miss Steele to marry, he means it as testimony of his concern for the cruel situation in which you now find yourselves. The unkindness of your family makes you astonished to find friendship elsewhere. You are mistaken. You owe it almost entirely to your own merit. I've had no hand in it.
Colonel Brandon must be a man of great worth and respectability.
I think he felt it would be better coming from a friend.
Most important of my life?
Mr. Ferrars, you honour your promises. That is more important than anything else.
Oh my God.
I do declare I have never disliked a person so much as I do Mr. Willoughby for your sake.
We will do nothing of the sort.
I hear Miss Grey's bridal gown.
Oh, Mrs. Bunting! We're in desperate need of you.
Oh, Bunting.
Breath from the moment we left London. I should have found another way of getting home.
There was no other way. You said it will not rain.
You always say that, and then it always does.
Right, that's how you
keep to the garden, near the house. We are very proud of our little Thomas, Colonel.
Do not fear, Mrs. Bunting. Come and meet little Thomas.
Don't tell me she's going to this guy's house.
Love is not love. It is an ever-fixing mark. Willoughby.
Marianne?
That's love. Brandon's
Do not worry, Miss
that's
Dashwood.
love.
Brandon will find her.
She's not hurt, but we must get her.
That is love. Ever fixed mark. From the moment he saw her playing the piano, he stood firm. Did what was best for her and her family regardless. This is Darcy.
Miss Dashwood.
I think Marianne may need a doctor.
You'll wear yourself out, Colonel.
It is an infectious fever that has taken far more serious hold than I would have expected in one second. I would recommend the hasty removal of your child, Mrs. Palmer.
Mrs. Barton! Mrs. Barton! Oh my God.
If you would prefer me to stay, I am at your service.
Thank you for everything you have done.
She's not doing as well as I would like.
Oh my God.
What can I do?
Colonel, you have done so much already.
Give me an occupation, Miss Dashwood, or I shall run mad.
She would be easier if her mother were here.
What kind of treatment is this? It's heartbreak, girl. Will yourself to live. Live in spite of what has happened to you. Oh, try. Oh. It's her heart. It's the heartbreak. You know, a broken heart can make you feel sick. Yes.
Marianne, I cannot do without you.
I tried to bear everything else. I will try. To loving Marianne.
They've shared so much with each other. Let's see her face. She's too bad. She's going to be fine. Brandon brought her.
Where's Eleanor?
I'm here.
Colonel Brandon. Thank you.
Solly Proper, thank you for thanking him.
He certainly is not so dashing as Willoughby, but he has a far more pleasing countenance.
Nor is the earth the less or loseth aught that may be found, if sought.
Shall we continue tomorrow?
No, for I must away.
You will not stay away long.
So you will not stay away long. Meaning I don't want you to stay away long.
But does it follow that had he chosen me, he would have been content? And might soon have learned to rank the demands of his pocketbook far above the demands of his heart. I compare it with what it ought to have been.
Oh, Thomas.
I fetched those beef fillets for you, ma'am.
Was Exeter crowded, Thomas?
It was indeed, ma'am. I spoke to Mrs. Braintree, and she told me that Miss Potterton has had another stroke. And she has no sense or feeling. And that Miss Murden has been obliged to turn away coals for his drunkenness.
Who told you that Mr. Ferris was married, Thomas?
I see Mrs. Ferrars myself, ma'am, and bid me to give you her and Mr. Ferrars' best compliments and service. And since she was always a very affable young lady, I made free to wish her joy.
What could it be? Could it be? Because you know that the other guy, the other Ferris brother, the Forrest, or what's his name?
I shall follow in a day or two, by which time I expect you to have learned.
In yours, Marianne.
Piano.
He must like you very much.
It is not just for me, it is for all of us.
You want me take, I'm on tonight.
Here is Colonel Brandon, Marianne.
I do not think it is the Colonel.
He said he would arrive today. You must play your new song to him, Marianne.
What a pleasure to see you.
Mrs. Dashwood.
We've been enjoying very fine weather. Oh, we have.
May I wish you great joy, Edward.
I hope you have left Mrs. Ferrers well.
No. My mother is in town. But then you've not heard.
Heard what?
I think you mean my brother. You mean Mrs. Robert Ferrers.
That's what I said. They were dancing at the party.
Mrs. Robert Ferrers?
You see what I said?
Yes.
Because
The transfer of her affections to my brother Robert. In view of the change in my circumstances, I felt that, at any rate, they were married last week and are now in Plymouth.
But then you...
He's not married, girl. Don't cry. Oh, she's overwhelmed. Oh my God, she's overwhelmed. Oh my God, she's relieved. It's too much.
Eleanor, I met Lucy when I was very young. Had I had an active profession, I should never have felt such an idle, foolish inclination. But I convinced myself that you felt only friendship for me. I've come here with no expectations. And always will be.
Yes.
Tell us.
Margaret.
Wait. He's kneeling down.
Colonel Brandon married Marianne. Willoughby, go. Just go with your choice. It's okay. Enjoy your life. I wish you well. Thank you. That almost killed me. Pause. This is so beautiful, you guys. Oh, this is so romantic, so wonderful. Love is truly a wonderful thing. It's an amazing thing, and everyone should have the pleasure of being loved completely and totally. Clearly, I'm sold out to Colonel Christopher Brandon, because he was just and this is because he was just a gentleman, and his behavior wasn't dependent on the reward. He was a gentleman through and through. You know, when a person is nice to you because they are hoping to get something in return, that's, okay, it happens. But when a person is just nice to you over and over again, regardless of how you treat them, just courteous, that is just an angel that you've been confronted with, that you're facing, and they should be treated as delicately and as kindly as possible. I cannot, he was just the ultimate great guy for her family, for her sisters, for her, even when she didn't realize it. And it's just unfortunate that you have to have your heart broken to appreciate the love that someone is giving you. But I would hope that we all don't wait for the bad to happen to appreciate the good. Let's embrace the good. Let's see it straight up. I always love it when people, I always say, you never know what you have till you lose it. You don't have to lose it. Know what you have from the moment it comes to you. But it's too much sometimes to ask of anyone to be that open-minded. And we all have our sense and sensibilities. We all have ways that our mind works, and we are a sum of our own thoughts, our own fears, the brain does sometimes lead the heart. Sometimes the heart overwhelms it, right? I think that love can be forged through experience, as Marianne later realized. And that is also a beautiful kind of love. I'm not saying detracting that Willoughby. Yes, he loved, but maybe his own experiences has shown that he would rather, as a man, he knows he has to be responsible for a woman in the end. I'm not making a case for him, but I always like to look at both sides. As a man, he might have felt, listen, I'm going to have to provide for a woman. I don't have any worthy inheritance. I can't take care of her. And I would rather, yes, find a beautiful young woman with her own money and bring my children into wealth. You remember that Marianne didn't have any inheritance. She didn't have anything. And he probably thought, if I marry her, I have to decide to take care of her sisters. You can see it's a close-knit family. If he didn't have anything, why lead her on or waste her time? Maybe that's the way his mind worked at the time. I love seeing that moment of kindness with the Palmer man, because he was just straight up exasperated by his wife and her chatter, and her wife's mother, who was very involved in her daughter's life. I think that's beautiful too, but a lot of men don't like that. They would hope for a separation and some sort of independence that their wives have outside their mother. But you can see the women had tea together, they partied together, sometimes they stayed over like they were really close-knit. Fanny is just hellish. Let's just leave it there. Her character and Lucy, my goodness. But you know, there are women like that. There are women who will go out of their way to destroy what you have so they can get the exact same thing. I will never forget a story my father taught me once about a woman who walked out on her husband because she found out her husband was having an affair. So she had told her sister, oh my God, not cousin, not distant sister, her own blood sister, told her sister, oh my God, my husband. And the sister was like, no, you can't take it. Move out of the house. Dump the man. And the sister dumped this guy. The woman dumped her husband. Guess who he married the next year? Her own blood sister. In Nigeria, my daddy could point at the house. I know the house. Till today, I know the house of the woman. Her sister married her husband. The woman almost killed both of them. Like, she went to jail because she came ready to kill her sister. Not even the man. She was like, listen, you're just... But this is my sister. I have to kill her. It was that crazy explosion that caused the neighbors in our estate to find out what was going on. I never forgot it. I never forgot it in my life till today. Yes, my dad is long gone in heaven, and I still remember that. And he said that if you're ever going to walk out of any relationship, don't do it because somebody told you this. Do it because you are convinced in yourself that this is what I wanted to do. Lucy came with an agenda, and she wanted to get into the Ferris family. She didn't even care which brother. She had no love and affection for Edward. She wanted to just maybe the Ferris name or the money or whatever it is. Don't ever, if you're working out of your relationship, don't be because someone told me that he's in. Find for yourself and make sure that your breaking point is your personal breaking point, not another person. And when I say that is that a lot of women say, oh, I'm going to walk out of my marriage if my husband cheats. If that is your breaking point, fine, that's for you. For some women, cheating is not their breaking point. It could be financial. Like some women are like, oh my God, you're screwing up the finances. I want a divorce because I can't trust you with money. Some other women, it could be alcoholism. Every woman's breaking point is different. Don't assume, oh, she didn't leave her husband. Her husband is cheating. Did she tell you that cheating was her breaking point? That is also another thing people should learn. Don't inherit. Search in your heart. If you can forgive someone for infidelity, forgive. Move on. If you cannot, then that's what it is. So many beautiful lessons with Jane Austen, but I see a similarity with Pride and Prejudice in many ways, but they're both beautiful stories. All right. Thank you, Ma, and I hope you had fun with me. On to the next.